Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Kwakwadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. And Shalom to the 130 Asherallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, but before losing their true heritage, were known as the Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, I want to go ahead and get into the parable of the persistent friend. And this is told in Luke 11 and 5 through 8. And he said unto them, Which of you shall have a friend, and shall go unto him at midnight, and say unto him, Friend, lend me 3 loaves, for a friend of mine is in his journey, is come to me, and I have nothing to set before him. And he from within shall answer and say, Trouble me not, the door is now shut, and my children are with me in bed. I cannot rise and give thee. I say unto you, though he will not rise and give him, because he is his friend, yet because of his importunity, he will rise and give him as many as he needeth. Now, the key here is this word, importunity. This word here, importunity, basically means to bug somebody, right? Keep pestering them, or to here, let's look it up. Importunity is when you beg someone to do something. Please take me to the mall, is probably something said. Okay, so basically that's what importunity is. Basically just, pestering, begging somebody. And this is what the Lord basically is telling you, right? That, that when things need to be done, when you need something, it's because of your consistency and continuing to ask, and be a nuisance for the most part, that you'll get things done. Now there's a famous phrase in the secular world that kind of touches on the same notion, and it was told by Josh Billings. It says, "The wheel that squeaks the loudest is the one that gets the grease." And that's exactly what the Yahushai was saying here, right? And that a man, he's not gonna, in this case, he's not gonna, it's lucky. Just because a man's a friend doesn't mean that he's gonna get something from his other friend, especially when he bothers them in the middle of the night. It's lucky, I had to drink some water in the middle of the night, but because of his importunity, right? Because the constant pestering, that's why he's gonna give him the bread, and in the middle of the night and stuff. And the reason why Yahushua was saying this is because there's things that have been foreshadowed and repeated constantly as a constant repetition in the Bible, that talks about that you always have to, for example, pray, right? And you have to be consistent. Now here's an example of another person who was consistent, and good things happened to them, right? This is Acts 16 and 16. It says, And it came to pass, as we went to prayer, a certain damsel possessed with the spirit of divination met us, which brought her masters much gain by soothsaying. Basically, she was a fortune teller, right? She was a fortune teller that was a slave, and that's how she made money for her masters. This is verse 17. The same followed Paul and us, and cried, saying, These men are the servants of the Most High God, which show unto us the ways of salvation. And this did the damsels many days. But Paul, being grieved, turned and said to the Spirit, I command thee, in the name of Yahushua the Mashiach, to come out of her. And he came out the same hour. So here is an example of somebody who's constantly, importunity, constantly pestering Paul, you know, and you know, she was saying that they gave salvation, and that lady now received, you know, well, exorcism, but which would more likely have led to her salvation, right? But besides this example, when you go into the scriptures, one thing you constantly see is it's this recommendation or this, you know, plead, and basically this is the scriptures, you know, importunity to you who reads it to constantly keep praying, right? Because it's very important that you pray, because praying along with fasting and saging and using incense, these are the only spiritual tools and weapons that we have in this kingdom, right? Because basically we are sheep amongst wolves, and we only have a few tools at our disposals to use to stay righteous. Now, this is Ephesians 6:18. It says, always praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplications for all saints. Luke 21:36. Watch ye therefore, and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man. Luke 18 and 1. And he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought to always to pray and not to faint. Basically, don't give up. Not to faint means not to give up. Saying there was and that's basically, actually I'm not going to read this because this doesn't really get to what I'm talking about. Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing. In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Yahushua the Mashiach concerning you. Right? And this part particularly here, you know, in everything give thanks. Right? Because one thing is you want to constantly pester the Lord. That's, you know, that's what the apostles said, and, you know, that's what you got to do. That's what the scriptures tell you, that you got to constantly be there and pray to the Lord. Give him thanks. Pray to him. Tell him how your day went. Ask him to give you forgiveness. You know, salvation. Make, you know, there's another scripture. I'm not going to get it, but I'm just going to, you know, paraphrase it. But it says, "Wear out the doorstep of a wise man." Right? Basically saying that you should always be at a wise man's side, right? Always bugging them. And why is that? Because you're going to get what that man has, and what we're here seeking is salvation. And who gives that salvation? The Lord. So this is why it says you always have to pray. You always have to constantly, you know, with importunity, you know, ask of the Lord for forgiveness and for salvation, right? Because constantly doing this, the Lord's gonna recognize you, and he's gonna recognize that you've been, you know, diligent in your prayers and trying to communicate with him. He'll see this, right? And really the only prayer that you need to, you know, say, and it's not that hard of a prayer. You know, I've made this here so that way everybody who wants to can actually, you know, use this and pray to the Lord in Hebrew if you like, which would be better. You could actually say the Lord's Prayer, and this is what you should always pray every night. I know you could get, there's nights where you're tired, you're with somebody, and you don't want to pray in front of them. You know, go to the bathroom. You know, pray in the bathroom, pray in the closet. You know, some people, you know, sometimes you just gotta say, you know, fuck it, and pray in front of them. You know, if they're your significant other, somebody you're hooking up with, they should know that you're down with the Lord, and they should see this as a good sign, right? But you're not doing this for them. But this is ultimately, you're praying because you need to talk to the Lord, and you should talk to him every night, because this right here, by praying, you're putting a shield of armor over you by praying. You know, because you want to be that squeaky wheel. You want Yahushua to know you, right? To remember who you are when you finally end up meeting him, you know, once you leave this life, because you know you want to be able to, when you come up to him, you want him to know you and recognize that you did all this praying and that you were the squeaky wheel, right? Because being the squeaky wheel, you're going to get more of the Holy Spirit. And this is why you should always pray, right? And then the reason why you also want to do this is because you don't want what the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, said what would happen to many people at the end times. And I'm just going to read this whole thing here. This is Matthew 7:21. The point's in 23 though. It says, "Not everyone that says unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say unto me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity." You see, so that's why you want to constantly talk to the Lord, pray to him. You know what I do before I drink anything, before I eat anything, I always just say in my head, I say, "The water Yahweh B'Shem Shai." You know, if at the minimum, that's what I say before I try to do this before I take a sip, or every time I drink something, eat something, I get something. I always thank the Lord. You always should do this as well. This should be a good habit to follow. This is what the apostles do, right? And you should, and like it tells you, it says, "Mark the perfect man, and be like them," right? And that's exactly what I've done, is follow what the apostles have done, and I'm doing it myself. And I can tell you right now, it works. You know, it makes you grateful for what you get. And again, you're wearing out the doorstep of the Most High by constantly talking to him and praying to him and praising him and thanking him for the things that he's given you. You know, so hopefully this video was edifying, Akim. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem, Rakot Pardash, double honors to my teachers, the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, and Shalom.